let's improve your Claude Code's ability to do outreach with email scraping. If you pass in a full name and a website, or even just a website, this tool here will find their email address even if they've never shared it online. How it works is it's going to take the first and last name and try different combinations of them to find the email address. Mine is alex@syncsystems.com. It might try that. It might try alex.f, Alex Flores, etc. as the name, and you only pay for the ones it finds and not just each attempt. Go ahead and make an account. A link is in the description and the pinned comment. You get 100 credits for free. So once you made an account, you might want to try it out. Enter any domain. This will cost 1 credit. In my case, let's use mine of syncsystems.com. The full name is Alex Flores, and then click on search. As you can tell, it found my email right here. Please don't spam me, but let's go ahead and try this out with the API. Here is the documentation. We're only going to focus on the first two because those are the most important. After that, if you want to use some of the other ones, you'll know how. But we want to go ahead and open these up in a new tab. Head over to the first one, which is person email. This is where we pass in a first name and last name. And a quick hack for you, if you don't have the last name, you could pass in a period or a dot and it will still work because it does require a last name. But in my case, I don't have a last name initial or my last name at all in my email address. So you don't necessarily need my last name if I don't have it available anywhere. But let's go ahead and copy this URL. Head into Claude Code, and what I'm about to type is inside the description. You can simply copy and paste it and put it into your Claude Code. Make sure you still follow the rest of the video to make sure you're following all the steps correctly though. So I'm going to type this in here. Create a custom MCP server globally. Very important that you specify globally. Otherwise, it'll be a per folder one, and then you might not have access to it if you're in a different folder than your current Claude Code instance. Anyways, create a custom MCP server globally that connects to any mail finder using these two endpoints. Paste, and then I'm going to say and then head back over here and copy this other one. This one, you could just pass in the website and then a certain type of person like a CEO, engineer, finance, HR, etc., and it will return it. You will use 1 credit for the person email if it finds a result, and it will use 2 credits for decision maker email if it finds a result. So if you don't have a name, decision maker is fine. Head back over here, paste that in. So now we have the 2 URLs. And then I'm going to say use quote placeholder as the API key. And after you're done, be sure to tell me how to manually put in my API key using a text editor and not a command. I'm doing it this way because some of the commands it sends might or might not work. Obviously, it's AI. Sometimes the commands are good, sometimes they're not good. I want to make this as easy as possible for you. So again, this exact prompt is in the description. Just simply copy it, paste it in. And if anyone ever has you watching a video where you're pasting in an API key, probably not the best practice. Sometimes I do that if it's a throwaway API key. I'm just testing something and I'm deleting it afterwards. But if you're actually going to be using this, especially if it costs you money to use this API, you probably don't want to do that. So that's why I'm doing it here. And I'm going to walk through all the problems I might run into. I'm not sure which, if any, I might run into, just so you can see exactly how the debugging process works. Because if you've been using Claude Code or any AI, obviously it's not perfect. It's going to mess up from time to time. At some point, it's going to ask to run Claude MCP list. This is it checking to see if it created the MCP server correctly. And also at some point, it might ask to use this right here, this NPM package called @model-context-protocol/SDK. This is normal. It has almost 24 million weekly downloads. This is one of the main tools that are used to do this. Now, in this case, it is asking to use this command to look for help on how to add an MCP server. Again, it won't always get it right, but usually if you read through it, you'll understand probably safe to run this. Let's go ahead and let Claude debug itself and eventually figure it out. All right, so it seems to be complete. One thing you will have to do is restart your Claude Code, but I like to keep this window open right here because it has full context of what we just did. I'm going to open up a new terminal and type in Claude. At this stage, I could do /MCP. And now I see any mail finder right there. If you don't see it here, or if you have any questions, leave a comment or check the school community. But let's go ahead and configure that API key. So if you know how to navigate to a specific file within your text editor, you can go ahead and do that. Now here, I'm going to get this path. I don't necessarily want to edit the index file. I just want to go to this folder. So I'm going to select everything, including this tilde, all the way to this folder end. The ending / here doesn't matter. Right click, copy. Go ahead and open up a new terminal once you've copied that. This should work on Mac and Windows. Go ahead and type in open space and then paste in that path. Now I have a new file right over here. Now, if you're on Windows, you can right click, new file, and you're going to call it .env. If it disappears on you, you want to go to the view option on wherever the top of your Windows Explorer is and go to show hidden files and folders, and then you should see it. Want to open that up and then follow the steps in a few seconds. On Mac, for some reason, I cannot make a new file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the terminal and I'm just going to cd into this. And then I'm going to say touch.env. Now, if you don't see it here on Mac, you can do Command Shift dot, and you should see it here. Go ahead and open that up. And let's head back over to our other terminal. Here we see process.env.anyMailFinder API key. Highlight this, copy, paste, equals, and then you want to go into your AnyMailFinder API settings, and then right above here, we'll see your API key. Copy that in. For example, if it was ABC123, it would look like this. So there's no spaces anywhere, and everything should be good to go. Go ahead and save it and close it. Now, after it's saved, I'm going to head over here. I'm going to start a new Claude Code instance. Just to confirm again, /MCP, we see AnyMailFinder right here. I'm then going to say, find the email of Alex Flores. Website is syncedsystems.com. Here it's going to say, are you sure? If you're using speech to text, you want to make sure everything is correct. I typed this out and this is correct. Going to go ahead and say yes. Now, in this case, it didn't have actual .env file support, and so we need to make that change here. So if you head over here, you can ask it to add support for .env inside the MCP server. And again, this is why I keep the original window open. I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, that's fine. All right, it says done. Excellent. Restart Claude Code. All right, so attempting this again, everything looks good. I'm going to click on yes. While it's doing this, we can see we already have a valid response, and we see Alex at syncedsystems.com, which I can confirm is correct. Now, this is verified as valid. If I come back over here and I refresh this, and here we have a post request, and this did return back the email address. In my case, it was free, probably because I've already gotten my own email address. But now your Claude Code can access any business owner's email. So if you ask it to ever do some prospecting to find potential clients, you can ask it to use this MCP server if it finds a name and website to try and find their email address.